Welcome to today's webinar, Kaiser University Multidisciplinary Center, as we present Summertime, presented by Damien Hunt.
Hello, everybody. This is Damien Hunt, and I am so excited to be your host today for Summertime webinar. This is something that is definitely near and dear to my heart. And today, the reason that we're here today is to basically see what we can do to help out some of our parents, some of our professionals, maybe some summer staff or activity staffs that are going on right now. And this is an opportunity for us on June 10th, 2020. We're here now. And so now we want to go in and really see what we can do to help out some of our young people and our parents. Summer's upon us again, and parents are beginning to plan for their children's days without a school schedule. Dreams of days filled with family, friends, freedom, laughter are in students' heads right now as they said goodbye to another school year. And we know that this year has been a year like no other, and we're only in the midway point. However, a non-academic summer can cause students at every grade level to digress 2 or 3 months in their academic skills. A half an hour a day, or even up into an hour, set aside daily can help a students close learning gaps and perform at a higher level during an upcoming school year. Summer is an ideal time for students of all ages, whether you have a pre-K all the way up to those that are going through, getting ready to go off to college. They are able to strengthen their academic skills while still having plenty of time left over for summer activities. So let's go ahead and dive in. So you're going to see, you notice a term here, and it's actually the summer slide. This is also known as the summer learning loss. It's widely known international. This is not just the United States, but internationally, that an average student loses academic ground during the summer, a phenomenon that is actually called the summer learning loss or summer slide. So anytime that you see the terminology summer slide, I'm referring to summer learning loss. This is key. Research shows that kids from K to 12 lose 22 to 35% on average of everything they have learned throughout the school year during the summer. Think about that. An average school year is approximately 36 weeks, depending upon the school and the area that you're in. That's 9 months. And our students, our kids, our babies forget or lose 2 to 3 months of that information that took 9 months for them to gain. Out of 36 weeks of school, an average school year, a teacher spends an average of 4 to 6 weeks reteaching materials that they previously knew. And look at some of these statistics. I just read some of those things. 4 to 6 weeks of reteaching materials. And if you notice, this is coming from Harvard University. So these are very credible research statistics that are being provided to you. So what are we going to do? Are we going to go ahead and let our young people be at a deficit, especially with their school year being cut short the way that it has been? Absolutely not. Let's look at some more information here. Math. Let's do the statistics on this. 100% of students who experience the summer slide or the summer learning loss with no summer engagement, 100% of students, they will, if they have no summer engagement, that's learning, that's picking up a book and reading for maybe 30 minutes a day, that's doing some form of math, or going into spelling for our, for the younger kids. And look at these staggering numbers. For the summer slide or the summer learning loss, it's worse in math and spelling. Almost 3 months they are set back on average, and spelling 2 months. And I don't know exactly in what universe that this is okay, but I, for one, after doing the research, am going to make sure that I take a stand, an intentional stand, to ensure that our young people, mine particularly, are not a part of these statistics. And I know I echo the sentiments of those of you that are parents and those that are professionals within education. And again, I said this before too, 17% of the new school year spent reteaching materials, all forgotten because of the summer. That's staggering numbers. So then why are we here? With so much uncertainty, with everything that's going on in today's society, regards to the pandemic, some parents have lost their jobs, and not knowing when school is physically going to allow the students to be more active on the campus. We haven't gotten word here in Florida just yet. But what I do know is that during this webinar, hopefully we can learn some things, some strategies, some points of views of how we can make sure that our young people are not caught up in the summer learning loss statistics. So these are some of the information that we're going to go over today. It starts at home. Take classes, learning new skills, get a side gig, or what young people say, get a side hustle, volunteering, which you can do even in a society of social distancing. You're still able to volunteer. Traveling, being spontaneous, and most importantly, plan for next year, just in case. We never know what's going to happen from day to day. So let's go with the first one. That's starting at home. The first thing you should do is figure out a timeline. When do kids go back to school is a very important question that you need to make sure that you keep abreast of. We don't know exactly what's going on. That's up to our governors and our educational superintendents and so on and so forth. But once they get together what the timeline is, say for example, our young people are going back to school in August or maybe September. So figure out a timeline and then work your way back on how that looks. How much time does your child have until they return? You need to make sure that's at the forefront of your mind. Plan your topics. I know this sounds like a difficult and daunting task, but if you have an idea of the subject that you would like to go over in the material, you know your child better than anybody else. And if you don't know everything as far as the academic prowess of your young person, reach out to their former teachers and ask if there's things that maybe your child maybe lacks in, that need a little extra assistance in. And that's academics or that's emotional, social emotional type of things. You can actually do whatever you would like. This is just making sure that your young person stays active during the summer. And also, even with that, you make sure that you actually do the things that you set forth. There's some things that you can do, and on the next slide, you'll notice this. If you do the things that you actually set out to do and that you plan for, not just planning on a piece of paper and then not doing anything about it. If you actually do these things, you'll notice that even some of your own children can't wait to do these things. They would start reminding you because a kid actually wants to learn new things. You just have to find the communication tool on how to communicate with your child to make sure that this is not just educational, but it's fun. But most importantly, it's something that they can carry into the next school year. Now you can go to the Dollar Tree, and some of my colleagues love this place, Michael's. And these are the places that you can go because it's real cheap. You can get a plethora of things at the dollar store. It costs $1 or less the majority of the things, if not all the things in the store. You'll be surprised exactly how creative you can be when you're intentional in making sure that your young people have what they need. You can go in there, you can get balloons, you can get bubbles, you can get cards. They actually have educational educational equipment in these places. They have, the fake money and teaching your kid how to count. And that goes for everything, elementary school, middle school, and high school. Make sure that they're not dependent, because I'm pretty sure youth is going to maybe work at a cashier, and sometimes the register doesn't work properly. Do they know how to give back change without being dependent upon a calculator or a register? Those are life skills that all parents can do. At Michael's, I mean, I don't have to introduce you guys to Michael's. They're a national or international brand, but there are things that you can do and be just super creative. You don't have to be dependent upon a summer school program. This is the time for you to go ahead and do the things that are necessary. Next thing that we're going to go into is taking classes. And this sounds like a daunting task, but make time for learning. For most importantly, read. There used to be a commercial in the late 90s, or should I say early to late 90s, and it's reading is fundamental. I'm probably dating myself. It's probably even earlier than that. But reading is definitely fundamental. It is something that keeps your brain active. I had a teacher who used to tell me, when you read more, you create another wrinkle of information into your brain. That's exactly what you want to happen. In the days of social media and texting, what we're finding out is that a lot of our youth are trying to write their papers, which they need to have for their standardized testing for their classes, but they're speaking in text form. And let's just be honest, when we're around our circle of friends or our circle of influence, we can say OMG or LOL, but to be honest with you, that isn't real life communication. You have to make sure that we're reading more. Summer reading is critical for students to retain knowledge and skills learned in the previous school year. Students who don't read are at risk of failing behind their classmates. Parents and teachers can avoid this by making sure kids take time to read every single day. And of course, these are some of the skills that you want to make sure that they actually increase in. You need to sharpen your math skills too. As a poster child of a person that did not like math all through school and later on becoming a math teacher, as silly as that sounds, I learned that math is a language. And if you ask anybody that actually speaks multiple languages, if you don't use it, you will lose it. And so sharpen up those math skills, those things that your young person had difficulties grasping during the school year are the very things that you need to go back and make sure that weakness is now a strength. It's something that they can now hang their hat on and say, I can do this now. You'll be surprised by doing things like this. It'll actually improve your kids' confidence. It'll improve their whereabouts and their wherewithal of who they are and how well they can do things. And it removes the I can't to I can. Creative writing. There are creative writing classes all on social media, on the different, I would say the different platforms, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Zoom, whether that's Facebook, whether that's any of those things. Enhance the strengths, and we spoke about that, and I've definitely identified the weaknesses. And of course, there are certain programs as parents. There is a program called All Pro Dads, and the national spokesperson is actually Tony Dungy, Hall of Fame coach and football player of the NFL. And this is a place where it's not just for dads, moms. You guys can go on there as well. But this is a particular program, and they actually send books to you for free. And these are things I even read to my 7 and 6 year old this past week, the brand new books, and they loved it. Great books, and they have it on at all different levels, literally from pre-K all the way through high school. This particular brand of book, everything you need to know, or everything you need to ace in those particular topics. You find these on Amazon, BJ's or Sam's Club. I believe Costco has them as well. This little notebook is a thick little notebook, but it has so much information. And I know some people are wondering, why is this not a class? But in actuality, you can develop it into a class. There's another program called iReady or CARD, and this is a Curriculum Associates, and they actually have summer curriculums that you can go in there and print for free. So what I did is I downloaded it to my computer. I saw what first of all, I staked out the information. I saw what the information was, And the information that applied to my kids, I sent it over to Office Depot because it's going to be over 100 pages, and I'm not going to use up all my ink to print out this information. And for like 20 bucks, I got legitimately, I would probably say, an entire summer's worth of information for free. Free 99. So I want to make sure that you guys understand there is absolutely no excuse. It doesn't cost anything. You can print out everything, or you can just have your child go on the actual computer. And of course, last, definitely not least, you can use us here at Kaiser University Multidisciplinary Center. We are full of resources. We have so many resources. We want to make sure that we are there to assist you in every way possible. We're doing read-alongs with Rita and Cheney. We're doing mentoring with myself and Carolyn. We are doing student seminars. We're doing teacher seminars and para seminars and parent seminars and webinars. So we want to be there as a tool for you to use as well. Learn new skills. So what you can do is definitely, as I said before, you can take classes or enroll in classes, enroll in school, in courses. But what I need you to understand is that even here during the summer, with everything going on, you can earn a degree, some form of certification or diploma. You can go to virtual camps. It sounds crazy, but you can actually go through virtual camps and private lessons. So these are all things that I want you guys to understand. There are programs out there that are giving away. I know FAU, for one, is I think it was an 8 to 10 week course for I want to say it was humanities, or no, I'm sorry, hospitality and travel. And this is a certification that your 18-year-old can get right now. You don't have to wait to get a degree to get certain certifications. Okay, and parents, if you want to go back to school, this is a prime time to do so as well if you have the time. Okay, private lessons, you can go and learn a new instrument, learn a new skill if you want to. Learning new skills, develop those leadership skills. There are master classes out there. There are great speakers, people that have done things that maybe that you're interested, or your young person is interested in getting into. Have them sit there and watch those videos. Have them read up on the career that they're interested in. And of course, as I said before, masterclass. Cornell University actually had a program, a diversity and inclusion program, at legitimately, I want to say it was more than 50% less than what they would normally charge. That is a huge deal from a major Ivy League university. Masterclass, you're seeing athletes, you're seeing actors, you're seeing makeup artists, you're seeing musicians, you're seeing, a plethora of people doing these masterclasses, giving you inside information, almost like inside traders information on how to be a great person in the field that you're interested in, or that your young person is interested in. Again, like I said before, you can learn an instrument. You can go on Facebook. All of these classes are, everything that I mentioned are all through the internet. All you have to do is take a little bit of time to make sure that you go in and do it. Our young people like to call this go get a side hustle or a gig. Okay, I'm a little bit older, so I say gig. But what I want you guys to understand is that you can actually, you and your child can build a resume through your interest right now during the time of a pandemic or the uncertainty. The only thing that's uncertain right now is everything that you can't control. That is uncertain, but if you can control it, it's definitely certain. And through that resume building, you can start saving money toward what they want, toward what your young person wants. Even being an influencer, Instagram, YouTube, they're paying crazy bucks for influential young people or influential people, and actually get a check for just doing a video influencing somebody to do something, whatever that platform is. This is a good time to also start a business. There's something in your heart or your young person's heart that they always wanted to do and they thought it was crazy. Well, why not try it out now? There are so much information on these platforms, on these social media platforms, that'll teach you how to do it and you don't even have to call anybody, and probably in most cases, probably not even have to spend a dime. And ask your family, your friends, your neighbors, if they have any work to do, at their place. I mean, for the most part, it's so easy to just go ahead and say, hey, look, my kid is looking for some extra work. I notice that your lawn is growing a little high. Can he cut your grass? Or maybe this is a time for your youth to go in and advocate for themselves. And that's also another skill that they can pick up. And like, listen, if you want it, you have to get it from the sweat of your brow. And so you go around the neighborhood, see who grass is high. If they don't have a lawn person, you be that lawn person. If you have a lawnmower, go get it. If they have to borrow one, do that as well. But it is all possible. And of course, these are the things that we talked about earlier, just giving you guys some examples. Volunteer, and yes, I said volunteer. And so now the first question that someone's going to ask is, how can we volunteer and social distance? I'm glad you asked that question. You're still able to do certain things, okay? There is the Habitat for Humanity. So even you can actually go out and help build those houses. Those houses aren't going to build themselves, okay? They still have volunteers going out there. You keep your social distancing, you mask up, you glove up, and you can still hammer in some nails. You can still move some materials, some raw materials from one place to another. You're still able to do that. You're actually also able to go to the animal shelter. Animal shelters are still allowing people to come in and be with the dogs or the animals. The animals are not, as far as we know, they're not subject to actually catching the coronavirus. So with that being said, you guys are still able, your youth is still able to go out and make sure that the animals are taken care of in the shelters. And you actually learn new skills through volunteering, and those skills you can actually apply to your resume, to their resume. All right. If you've done it for 5 minutes or you've done it for 5 years, that is experience that you have gained. And I just said that building your resume through the volunteer. And even with all of that being said, these are the things that you can do with volunteering. Those community service hours that your kid needs, you can put it toward that. The internship that your young person is going to need for maybe a program that they're in. There's certain programs, whether they're in the Key Club at school or different type of other programs, even college, those that are home from college because a lot of the dorms have been shut down. They can get their apprenticeship right now. And of course, tutoring. You can actually tutor via Facebook, via Zoom, or WebEx, or whatever platform that you tend to use. You're able to still do those things. Travel. Oh my gosh, this is a great time for families to connect and recharge. So get away sometimes. And through traveling, your young person is going to learn more about themselves. They've already been social distancing from their friends for the most part. And they want that contact, but there's no contact better than being with family. So this is a time for everybody to learn about themselves. And I just wanted, as a side note, this particular webinar has actually been taken from a student seminar that I've done with some high school young people. And this is the information that I gave them as well. I want them to have this information. Take a break every once in a while and just relax. We work so hard. And through this pandemic, through this social distancing, I think a lot of us took a lot of things for granted, including our young people. And so this is a time for everyone to just really look around and observe what's going on in life. Look at nature. Go on a nature walk. Look at the little animals. I tell your young person, don't pick up anything, but look at the things that the creation that is around us, and really just take it in. Breathe some fresh air. Get out of the house. Don't be so cooped up in the household. This pandemic, as far as we know, is not airborne. So go out there and exercise, do things, go traveling. Lion Country Safari is a place that you can go here in South Florida, in West Palm Beach. You can stay social distancing and still learn about animals. So that'll be a great place to take young people. And I can tell you right now, high schoolers are just as excited to go to Lion Country Safari now than my 6- and 7-year-old. So please don't think that regardless of the age, they won't do something. sometimes even as the age that I am, I still like to sometimes go back and reminisce and look at my old cartoons. So I still like to do things that would be maybe seen as being childish. Again, we talked about camping. A lot of people are doing camping right now. They are learning things about nature and how to adapt to nature. And again, you learn from other people when you travel as well. You learn a lot of things, going to Indian reservations, going to all these other places that literally will educate you on what's going on in today's society. And this is probably one of my favorite topics, being spontaneous. Some people may even call it doing something that they've never done before, but do something that's going to make you nervous. You know, for a long time, my kids would not go on very steep rides. So we did a chairlift in the Dominican Republic, and they were nervous, but at the same time, they were so excited to see the vastness of forests and jungles. So do something that will make, you know, that your child say, you know, I want to do it, but it makes me a little nervous. Good, they should do it. You'll learn more about yourself when you do those things. And sometimes it's not always going to be planned. Maybe you're going to have a day, like I told my kids, 4 days we're going to work for a couple of hours. Friday, you can do whatever you want for as long as you want to. When you do that, now we have a give and take. Need I say more about this? Have fun. And create a bucket list. And I know bucket lists tend to have a negative inclination or a negative aura around it. But the bucket list is more so about making sure that you go in and try your very level best to do things that you always wanted to do. Your young person can create a bucket list. Doesn't matter if they're 6 years old, they want to be a superhero, then we can put them on a desk chair and pretend that they're flying over. They have a lot of virtual reality type things as well. You can also do those things. You have virtual field trips that you can do as well. And also make sure that you engage in service opportunities abroad. These are certain things that you can do, and I think there's so much fun when you do them. Tie-dye. You know, a lot of people are into the tie-dye thing. So do that. Making these can lanterns, they're so easy. YouTube teaches you how to do all this other stuff. So if you don't know how to do it, let YouTube teach them. Create new recipes. Everybody loves to eat. So find something that you've never eaten before, you've never made before, but you always like to eat at a restaurant. Try to do it. You may find out that you may actually make it better than what the restaurant serves it as. And this particular art is what they call splatter art. And what you do is you actually fill some paint at a balloon, in a balloon, and actually throw darts in it on a canvas. And so now you got multiple activities going on at the same time. You're painting and you're doing darts. It's a fun activity. I've done it with my kids. You can do it with your kids as well. Plan for next year. It's so important. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. So one thing that we want to make sure that we do is make sure that our young people are applying to various programs. Maybe there's a program in school that your young person wants to be a part of. Key Club, First Responders Club, in track and field, whatever the club may be or program they may be, start planning for it. Colleges, scholarships. This is a great time, especially if you have a junior, a rising junior, or even a sophomore. It's a good time to start looking up for colleges and scholarship money for those colleges. So you're not breaking the bank to pay for college. Those that that's not interested in going into college, but they want to pick up a trade or go to vocational school, it's a great time to research all that information, especially when you're planning for the next year. And also, please make sure that you push your child to enhance their post-secondary resume. Get into clubs. So don't just apply it to them, get into them. Connect with teachers to make sure that your child academic prowess is up to par. Okay. Again, one thing that I spoke about in a previous webinar that I've done is that our young people are trying their best to be the best that they can possibly be. They can't do that if they have a deficiency that goes unrecognized. They can't do that either if us as parents or professionals are pushing our dreams on our young people. So please make sure that whatever your youth would like to do in life is what they want to do in life. It's fine to help them, but don't live vicariously through your child's dreams in order for them to make it to the next level, okay? And create an action plan. This is all things that you can do right now for next year. In case anything else breaks down, we want that to be done. So, summer learning provides structure to children's summer experiences, making it more likely that they will stay engaged and focused and out of trouble. It also keeps their academic skills polished, and in some cases, makes it possible for them to get ahead. I have a son that's going into the second grade. I want to prepare him as if he's going to the third grade. I have a young daughter who's going to the first grade. I want to prepare her as if she's going to the second grade. So it's not enough to meet them where they are. It's trying to get them beyond to and stretch them a little bit more. Through summer activities, this is important. It keeps their mind sharp and stimulated. They tend to learn more time to learn the basic skills that are so important for them to be on par with the rest of their cohorts. Time to overcome challenges. You're going to notice that they need to overcome some challenges. I think a lot of us will recognize problem solving is a skill that we took for granted. And a lot of our young people are having problems in actually problem solving. So during the time, during the summer, your child is learning without the senses of urgency and pressures associated with school. So the brain is free to relax, to imagine, to wander, and to create. These are the things that your young person can do. Increase the confidence. You'll be surprised. Taking extra time during the summer to concentrate on a subject that they found difficult in school and discovering new talents will help build that young person's self-confidence. They're going to promote and respect learning like they never have before. When it comes to extra learning throughout the summer, the world is their oyster. So encourage your young child or your child to discover and pursue a new passion. They will help hold on to routine. Right now, their routine is a little bit off. They've been out of school physically almost 3 months now. So routines are healthy and good for children as they provide them with a sense of security, safety, and stability. Structure time for learning opportunities, but keep schedules light and flexible. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my webinar. I hope throughout this webinar, you have learned some strategies on what to do. You know the importance of the statistics that you don't want your child to be a part of. You don't want them to ride on the summer slide. You don't want them to have the summer learning loss. And this concludes summertime transition with Damien Hunte. Thank you.